Let's take a look at the tutorial that ships with the mbeddr download. You can also download it separately. So if you go to the website and you go to the Get It page, you'll see that you can either get the tutorial separately or as part of the plugins. It's actually part of that download as well. Let's look at the file system. There is this commembedder.tutorial.zip. It's either in the big download or the one you download. You can unzip that, and then inside there is a project, which is this mbeddr.tutorial.mpr. That's what you should open with MPS. And what you will see if you do that is essentially this. You have the tutorial project. It contains 3 folders: example code and languages. The languages are implementations of example languages, and we'll talk about that in a second. The tutorial itself has, again, a set of models. The first one contains examples for the default extensions. So if you open this one, you see stuff about components, about data structures, variability, state machines, stuff like that. And we'll have overview videos for each of them. So that'll be later. There is configuration stuff here and so on. In the new languages, there are examples for some of the concepts that have been built with the languages that are intended as language extension tutorials. For example, these 2-dimensional vectors. And then there is this plain C, which is simply a regular C code essentially. And then here that has to do with the requirements management demo. We'll walk through each of the examples for the various mbeddr default extensions separately. So this video is really just intended to give you an overview over the overall contents of the tutorial. Here you can see the various example languages that we've built, and there is also an example of tests where we have a test case that checks, for example, that this node here actually has an error because it's type incompatible. To learn more about the tutorial, you should also take a look at the user guide. So let's go back to the website and download the user guide, which would be quick. It's a big PDF, and you can read stuff. The point is, here is the tutorials. It also explains all the setup that you've seen so far. And then it walks you through the physical units, for example, the components with a lot of code examples. We really build example systems and explain how things fit together. And of course, these things are exactly what you will find right here. So this, for example, here, the components example builds essentially the stuff in this module. Okay, that's enough for the overview. You'll get separate. Oh yeah, and of course, if you go back, you'll also see here these extending mbeddr. This is the various example languages we built that you can just run through. It again explains in quite some detail how to build these things in mbeddr using MPS. Okay, that's enough for the overview. I suggest you take a look at each of the various feature demos.